Hey everyone! Now it's time to have a good play session with my favorite mixed media art supplies, and this is the abstract art that we will be creating today using all of these art supplies. And I'm just going to drop a few of these paints. It's kind of more of a warm-up, type of a painting, just experimenting. It's something I advise you do when you get new watercolors and you want to try out and see how they work, how they behave. Put some little, I think, cat hair here. So this is looking interesting. It's just moving into the other paint. Okay, before I add anything else, I think I'm going to actually, let's try a bit of this as well. Hopefully you can see how it's sort of more pigmented, this acrylic ink here. Now I want to use the neon pink fluorescent on top of this Genesis green. I have just gone over with a heat tool over these paints just to kind of set them a bit, and most areas are dry. I'm just being careful not to go into the still wet areas. And then let's take this Golden Titan Violet Pale. I feel like there's a lot of warmth here, so we need to start bringing a little bit of coolness. And I'm just going to create a bit of kind of hopefully texture and something that won't be too big of an area here. The texture of the paper is really helping to kind of add this lovely textural effect on top of the other mediums and bring out the bumps of the paper. While this area is drying, I'm going to take my Tombow N60, which is a great kind of gray type of a color, and I'm going to create these kind of marks here. And use a bit of water to blend them out, to kind of create that sort of watercolor effect. And repeating these kind of warm mustardy colors with the gray. So here you can just simply carry on building your color once you have dried everything. If you wanted to intensify certain areas, you can just add the color and then again use a bit of water to merge the two, like that. They're kind of building on the effect. You can work with a more finer tipped brush if you wanted to, but this is looking good to me. I'm also going to build inside these wide areas, and again towards the center I'm trying to add this bluey lilac-y type of gray, and then as I'm coming out of the center I'm adding this warm color again. I have built the layers a couple of times, and this is what we have here. And we have only 3 art supplies left: the gouache, the acrylic gouache, and the oil stick. The oil stick will go on very last because it's the one that dries for a few days. Depending how thickly you layered it on, it can take up to a week. So I am going to consider how to add a little bit of color, but not too much, because there's already a lot going on here. And I am thinking of adding a color that won't be too striking. Kind of layer this color over the top a little bit, just creating more of a cluster now. And you will see there is no texture as there is in Heavy Body, because it's kind of like a gouache type of paint. I'm going to try and soften the edges slightly. And in fact I want it to be flat, so I think I'm just gonna try and straighten the textures out. It will be matte, and so whatever we will place on top of it will look really nice. And then I'm thinking of this acrylic gouache, so I'm gonna set this paint now. So I'm thinking of kind of working on this area here, and I don't know if I should use a brush or a spatula. I'll start with the brush, see how I get on. Okay, so that's interesting. It's not wanting to sit on top of this paint here, but it is an interesting kind of a look. So I think I'm going to keep it as it is. Okay, and finally the last art supply, the oil stick. So you'll see how I will get my hands dirty. Basically you want to hold it like so, and if there's any kind of maybe tissue or paper or something that you can grip the top and remove the film. And what I'm trying to do now is kind of connect these areas here just by adding like this beautiful pop of color that will speak for itself without making it too big, too small, just layering it over. And maybe just a small little area this way as well. Just like that. And then you can take a spatula if you wanted to, and you could blend it out if you wanted. You could bring a bit more texture back on. You could play as you wish. You can really sort of spread it out if you wanted to have softer kind of edges like so. Maybe even connecting this one a little bit, just so it's not so obvious that it's the rule of 3 that we're playing with. and that way it kind of completes the piece. So there's a lot going on here. I usually don't create this way because I try to work with a few art supplies rather than many and a limited color palette, but I just wanted to show you what it feels like painting with all these art supplies and give you kind of a feel for it and how exciting it is to play with mixed media. So I hope you enjoyed this art session and I will see you next time.